I will now take leaders' questions under Standing Order 36. The Pearse Doherty. Karen Omid.
Gurmaigad Ilascan Cordia. Agus a Hanish ta Comer in scale na diggin realtas and praying a one lish dela lish in gear came modular costa she moralta na cheetah shaw. Ta were good rachi here raw vug, agus raw wall, agus kai rachi had agree at a giri orishin in commercial, agus yichinata van income. Ta dini extra helps tanish to bajer na diggin to shaw, agus kai ship takula and nesh gan moll. For the past year, Taoiseach we and Sinn Féin have been calling on government to get a grip on the cost of living crisis. And what has the government done? Well, you have certainly talked a lot about it in the last number of weeks, but it appears that you're about to announce a package of measures that will only scratch the surface. What people are telling me is that this government simply doesn't get it, that the government doesn't understand the challenges facing ordinary workers and families. And if you needed an example of that, it's this. We had a minister go on national radio telling people to stop complaining, while behind closed doors, Taoiseach, you, the Taoiseach, the leader of the Green Party and your cabinet colleagues signed off on an €86,000 increase for a senior public servant who is now on a salary of nearly €300,000. You announced an electricity credit of €100 last year that still hasn't been delivered and won't be delivered for weeks to come. And don't Taoiseach try and repackage that today as some new initiative. People need support and they need it now, and they've been waiting already 4 months for that €100. This morning, Taoiseach, I'm not sure if you had the opportunity to listen to May on Morning Ireland. May is from County Wexford. She wears a dressing gown over her clothes and drinks hot tea to stay warm because she can't afford her heating bills. Or maybe you listen to Hugh. Hugh's from Leitrim. He's had to cut back on food because of the rise in prices. And there are thousands and thousands of Hughs and Mays out there. Rising prices affect everybody, but it doesn't impact on everybody equally. Low and middle income households spend more on heating their homes, on feeding their families, and on rent than those on the top, and they do so with less money. This morning, St Vincent de Paul found that 2 in 5 people have cut back on essential heating and electricity. Workers and families need target support, and they need that support now, and they need a government that's willing to act, willing to listen, and willing to act now. What we need, Taoiseach, is a direct cost of living cash payment, as Sinn Féin have proposed, of €200 for individuals on incomes of €30,000 or less, and €100 for individuals on incomes between €30,000 and €60,000. This would provide households with direct support of over €500 in response to the cost of living crisis. Taoiseach, we need to get money into people's hands now. For some, they will use it to meet their gas and electricity bills. For others, it will be a fill of oil. And for others, it will be just ensuring that they have enough diesel in their car so that they can get to work. So Taoiseach, it is time to wake up to the reality, and it's time for you and your government colleagues to understand where ordinary people are at. So Taoiseach, will you bring forward a targeted cost of living cash payment as we have proposed? Will you put 1 month's rent back into renters' pockets and ban rent increases for the next 3 years? And for God's sake, will you stop the increase in oil and gas prices, which you plan to do in the month of May by heaping additional carbon taxes on them?
Thanks, Deputy. First of all, I want to acknowledge once again on behalf of the government that we know that the cost of living is rising. Inflation is running at about 5% at the moment. As far back as last March, before you were, I was signalling concerns about the fact that a period of inflation was likely to arise, and that is now rising now. As far back as last June, I was advocating for tax, welfare and pensions package in the budget, which other people, including your party, opposed at the time, and that's going back to last June. But the government acknowledges that the cost of living is rising, that it's biting people, it's hurting people in the pocket, it's hurting with family budgets, that a lot of people are really squeezed, and some people are having to make very hard decisions about what they spend their money on, whether it's energy, fuel, or groceries. And we see it all around us. It's what our constituents are saying to you, it's what my constituents are saying to me. The cost of filling a tank with petrol or diesel has gone up dramatically. People are shocked when they see their electricity bill or their gas bill. And because energy prices impact on transport prices, the cost of groceries is now rising too. And the government gets that, and the government understands that. And that's why we have been acting to try and cushion the blow. So in the budget, and these measures only came into effect in the last few weeks, in the budget we'd €1 billion cost of living package, increases in pensions, increases in welfare, reductions in personal income taxation. And that was a cost of living package worth €1 billion announced in the budget that only came into effect in the last couple of weeks, and that was opposed by the Sinn Féin party. We're now going to add to that today through an additional package to help people with the cost of living. A broad measure that's going to help every household, because even households on middle incomes are suffering from the rising costs, particularly of energy bills, and targeted measures that will help those who are suffering the most, particularly older people and people on very low incomes are on welfare. And that, the budget package and the package that we're going to announce today, will be worth somewhere in the region of 1.4 to 1.5 billion. And that is considerable. That is a lot of money that the government is saying we need to give back to people to help them with the rising cost of living. But I know as well as you do that no matter what we announce today, it's not going to be enough. Your press release is all already written. Inadequate, not enough. I could write it for you. In fact, it probably was written days ago. But promises are cheap and promises are easy. And the public, more and more, are seeing through you. They see what you're not doing in Northern Ireland to help people with the cost of living. And they know that promises are cheap. It's so easy for any opposition party to say they're going to do twice whatever the government's going to do. But people see through that and they know it's not honest. We've had a very significant cost of living package in the budget, kicked in just in January. We're going to add to that through our announcements today.
Taoiseach, with all the talk from government ministers over the last while and yourself, it's very clear in terms of that response that you simply do not get it. You still don't get where ordinary people are at. You don't understand the fact that rents are spiralling out of control. In my own county, it's 24% increase. Across the state, it's on the average of 10%. You don't understand the impact that it's having on low and middle incomes. And you talk about a package in the region of 400 million. That is not going to scratch the surface of what needs to happen. We've put forward proposal after proposal to you. Don't increase oil and gas in May, which you plan to do by increasing it through carbon taxes. Put a month's rent back into renters' pocket by introducing a tax credit. You refuse to do it. We've been talking to you till we're blue in the face about this for the last 3 years in relation to that measure. And we're telling you what is needed is cash directly into hard-pressed workers and families' pockets, and that can be done through a cost of living cash payment of €200 for all those income earners below €30,000 and €100 for those earning below 60. Now that is the type of proposals that a government should be bringing forward if they understood where people are at. But you simply don't, and it seems, and it's tantamount of what the Minister said the last day. Stop complaining, do work yourself, and leave the government alone.
Deputy, your party co-chairs the government in Northern Ireland. You've been in office there for most of the past 20 years. The Finance Minister in Northern Ireland is a Sinn Féin Finance Minister, a member of your party. And don't tell me you don't have fiscal levers and fiscal tools. You do. You just have to make choices. Remove funding from one area, allocate it to another. That's what governments have to do. And what the government that you co-lead in Northern Ireland has done is minimal compared to what we've already done here to help people with the cost of living, and much less than what we're going to do today. What you've done in Northern Ireland is to give people an energy grant to help them with the cost of energy, which you're then going to take back off them. It's not even a grant, it's a loan. They're going to get it this year and you're going to take it back off them next year and the year after. And that's what you're doing in government. And that is what you would do if you were in government here. You'd do less than us. And if you did give people anything, you'd probably take it back the year after.
You've done nothing. That's the problem. That's what you're tone deaf to where people are at.
Ag bogarai gur míle maithagad as war taki up there. Gur míle maithagad party an look. Party an look.
Ibra. Donegal when you take up your cabinet. Disgraceful. You abandoned your.
Ní féidir gomalishkin heachta. Ní féidir lan up the Reimer show. Washa the hella. Bioganí massa a haspáint ar a chéile. Tá méid bogarai an ish.